Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 25th of October. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. Now I'm going to give you the major themes of this week, and then please stay with me. I'll dive deep to give you your detailed zodiac forecast for each of the 12 signs. Now this week's most glorious influence goes between Venus in Sagittarius and Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, in the friendly sign of Aquarius. Now this combination could see some kind of gathering, a reunion, it may be some travel plans with a larger group of people, and all these things can provide a lot of uplift. It's also possible that somebody could enter your circle, or someone who's been a friend for some while start to creep up on your senses in terms of a romantic possibility. But Venus in the sign of Sagittarius is a truth seeker. Jupiter in Aquarius is thinking about the wider needs of people. So it would hardly be a surprise if the person that you were chatting to, either socially or perhaps even in terms of romance, was someone who's a bit different, a bit more unique. Certainly somebody who could be a bit of a free spirit. But if you are wanting something more devotional, the fact that Neptune, the planet of dreams, squares with Venus creates a little bit of uncertainty. That aspect can see us be tempted to put someone on a pedestal, and that's something we should try to avoid this week. However much the good vibes are there are some more cautionary energies that I need to tell you about. Not least, the Sun is challenged by the stern, restrictive energies of Saturn. Now Saturn is in the sector of the group, Aquarius, no longer in retrograde, which is to be celebrated, but the Sun is finding its way in the sign of Scorpio, which is very much to do with deep commitment and devotion. So if you're wanting that in a relationship and you get to know someone that you find very attractive, but for them it's more of a fleeting experience, that could be quite hurtful. So just be conscious of the reality of where you might be coming from in terms of your expectations, and where somebody else may also be coming from theirs. Also, Mars in the sign of relating, Libra, where it's afflicted, is in a square with Pluto. Now this is an aspect of force and drive and desire, but it's not one that's so much to do with gently talking things over. It's quite raw, it's quite visceral, it wants its reward, it's a desire-led planet, Mars, and therefore it's to do with instant gratification. So however much someone may be relating, their desire and ambition around that relationship or that situation can be quite unbridled. Just be aware that by the end of the week, Mars does move into the sign of Scorpio, which it governs, and will be there through to the second week of December. And that is going to be very helpful in a way, because being in its dignity will help it to strut its stuff much better than it has in the sign of Libra, where it's in detriment. So just be conscious of that. But of course, Mars in Scorpio brings that desire element of our nature even more strongly to the fore. But the quarter moon on Thursday in Leo suggests a little bit of jealousy could be washing around this week. It's not going to be a walk in the park week, but there is those glorious aspects. You know, Neptune squaring Venus can still be very, very good as long as we keep one toe on terra firma. But that link between Venus and Jupiter is really, really beautiful. I think we just need to make sure that whatever our expectations are, we keep the reality very much to the forefront of our thinking, and that way we can make the most of this week. But please stay with me for your deep dive video. But if you are new to my channel, I would be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. And remember, you can get your free daily horoscope fired to your device each morning by clicking on the link beneath this video and subscribing. Or if you'd like to get your year 2022 personal horoscope, the year is rushing up towards us. You can order it now, get the rest of this year free, plus 30% off, and a character analysis. Please do see the link beneath this video. Hello Libra, and welcome to your in-depth forecast for week commencing the 25th of October. Now in the first half of this week, Mars, which has been in your sign for 5 weeks at the start of this week, is in a tense right angle with Pluto. Now these two are the rulers of the sign of Scorpio, which is very much about intensity and transformations. Now Mars in your sign has made you very single-minded, and of course it's been augmented by the Sun more recently and Mercury. But I feel that this right angle to Pluto could see you become very exasperated around a situation which has been dragging on for some while. You may have been trying to work through a way of dealing with something in your naturally diplomatic manner, trying to push back a little bit and assert your boundaries, but not necessarily being over forceful. But if someone really isn't listening, I think you could become much more exasperated this week. Also, the Sun, now in your second house of everyday resources, that is tempered by the more restrictive energies of Saturn in the part of your scope which is to do with pleasures. Now, of course, Saturn isn't normally linked to the concept of pleasure, but Saturn, after all our hard work, often grants us the resources to enjoy those pleasures. But I think this is the second half of this week is probably a good time to be a bit more cautious about the money you spend. But your ruler Venus forges a delightful angle to Jupiter, and this is one of the best planetary aspects there is. A sextile between these two can actually be very lucky. They're known as the greater and lesser benefics. And Jupiter is also the ruler of Venus's location at the moment, the sign of Sagittarius. So a conversation, a flirty conversation even for some Libras, may set the pulse racing in the second half of this week. And also, as Mars moves, as the week draws to a close, your determination to transform your situation in a more material way, particularly if you've been pouring a lot of creativity into a situation for some time, you can start to realize the benefits of all that graft and application from the end of this week onwards. It's just that the quarter moon in Leo on Thursday just could flag up a friend or two who you may have thought you knew well, and suddenly you can become more conscious that perhaps you didn't know what they stood for quite as much as you thought. And there could be a little bit of a disappointment there. You know, the type of people, they may be okay people, but maybe they're not so good at appreciating what you give to a situation. And because the whole theme of Pluto in your fourth house has been pushing you to transform the way you relate to people and not be such a receptive person for other people's emotional situations, and pushing back and asserting your needs, maybe one or two relationships are reaching a tipping point of whether they're going to continue in your life longer term or not. But that glorious link between Venus and Jupiter can bring someone quite special into your world at this time, or make you even more conscious of how important one relationship is.